And how you doing, everyone? I hope you're all having a great night out there. Welcome back to Changing Our Ways.
Night.
What?
Might not be night time.
Well, it might be any time.
Oh.
It might be day, it might be night. It might be 2 or 3 in the morning, who knows?
We just gave it away that we're doing it at night.
Doesn't matter.
Nah.
I don't think it really matters. I think it doesn't matter when our listeners listen to our podcast, just as long as they're listening.
All right.
As I was saying, welcome back to Changing Our Ways. I'm Grant. This is Chantelle.
Hello, Chantelle.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're actually with us. Thanks for joining the program. And yes, this is Changing Our Ways. We're back for another episode number 3. We've had some really good feedback so far, which has been awesome. Thanks again for everyone who's been messaging us and commenting on our posts and just giving us generally great feedback, generally really positive things, and also some really good advice about what you want to hear, and just some general comments about the content that we have spoken about so far. Chantelle, how are you doing? I mean, I live with you, I'm married to you, but sometimes I just want to know how you're going.
I'm still recovering from Wentworth.
Oh, my God.
That season finale had me like I had an anxiety attack.
I don't know how we're going to survive.
For another year without it.
I mean, when did it start?
Oh, I don't know. February? No.
February, March?
I don't know.
Something like that. It's 13 episodes. 12 episodes. Episode a week, so 3 months. So, yeah, March.
Is it really bad that I want Ferguson to live?
Well, I mean, she's half the entertainment. I mean, as much as you want it to live, you want it to die as well, because you can't stand it. For the listeners out there that aren't in Australia or may not actually get to see Wentworth, it's just a drama in Australia, and
it's the rougher Australian version of Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, it's the kind of the non-comedy version of Orange is the New Black. I mean, there is some comedy parts in it, I suppose, some funny parts, but it's a drama rather than with Orange is the New Black being more comedy central. But it's really good. It's one of the best TV shows that's come out of Australia in quite some time. So yeah, really, really enjoyed it. But speaking of Orange is the New Black, we're finally on the new season, season 5.
It took us a while.
Yeah, it took us a while. So we're only on episode 3.
We're still in season 1 of Walking Dead, I think.
No, season 2.
Oh.
Yeah, so come on, mate, get it right.
Anyway, let's get back to it.
Okay. So this week, we're talking about a little bit different to what we went to last time when we went through the stigma of surgery last time and the content around that. This week, what we're going to talk about is the pre-op nerves, or the pre-op pre-operation preparation on your surgery.
This was a big subject that kept coming up that people wanted us to talk about.
Yeah, we've got a fair few followers that are actually going through the process at the moment, and some have actually wanted to know more about pre-op, what they should be expecting, what they should be doing, and maybe what they're doing wrong, or where they can learn from our mistakes or other people's mistakes, or even just some good general tips. So, what I suppose we'll really kind of get into first is, what is preparing, or what is pre-op?
What is preparing? What do you do? Where do you start? I've never prepared for anything like this before.
You probably should start by seeing a doctor.
Dietitian.
Well, a doctor to get to the dietitian.
Oh, yeah.
Do you just walk into the dietitian's office and say, "G'day, mate. How you going?
I'm here for pre-op.
I'm here for pre-op. So is your surgery booked and all?" Well, no. Oh, I just thought I had to come do pre-op first.
Why do you talk with that little accent?
Oh, I'm just old Daz from down the road wanting to do some pre-op.
All right, buddy.
So, I suppose, Shan, what did you think pre-op was? What did you think was involved?
I thought it involved me eating a lot of vegetables and a lot of salad and grilled meats.
Right. That was
How
it?
wrong was I?
Well, what did you expect? I mean, I suppose from our point of view and from our research, we had researched it a bit, but we didn't really know. We knew very few people that had had the surgery, whether it be bypass, sleeve, or lap band. We'd heard about them. We'd done our own research, but we didn't really know a lot of people personally that had gone through the surgery themselves and the pre-op.
I don't remember your sister going through pre-op when I think about it.
Yeah, she did. She went through 2 weeks.
Okay, she's lucky.
Yeah. Why is she lucky?
Because she didn't have to do 8 weeks.
Well, yes, 8 weeks does sound like a long time. Certainly, I haven't seen anyone do longer than 8 weeks. And I haven't seen anyone do less than 2.
I think someone would go nuts if they were on it for longer than 8 weeks.
Well, you went nuts.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Oh.
You were pretty much banging down the door of the surgery by the time you got there. But what was your conversation with the dietitian? So you'd gone through your consult with the doctor or your surgeon and got your surgery date, and obviously you now have your first consult with the dietitian.
Mm-hmm. So as soon as she told me I had to do a very low calorie diet, I think that's right. Is it? What did they say? VLCD. I was under the assumption that I'd just be healthy eating.
Yeah.
I didn't realise I'd have to do shakes because the big Facebook group wasn't around then. No. I wasn't aware. I was only going off by what I was told or what my doctor said or what my dietitian, new dietitian was going to say. I just thought it'd be salads and vegetables and not eating any takeaway. And then I was told about the wonderful world of OptiSlim.
OptiSlim have great products. They have really great products.
Yeah. They're
awesome.
Amazing. Yeah.
So let's not just blame OptiSlim.
It did its job and it did what it's supposed to do. It's just I loved chewing food, I loved eating food, and that took away from me.
So what we're talking about is the meal replacement shakes.
Yes.
So you had to do what was your diet made up of?
3 shakes a day and a salad.
Ouch.
Yeah. So a shake at breakfast, a salad. Like I used to do later in the afternoon, I'd have a shake at lunchtime and then I'd have a shake at dinner. And
Delicious.
They were like, oh, you should get this pack. It's got like the bars in it and it's got the soups. I had one bit of the soup and I spat it out because it literally tasted like some person's boot, which had been left outside, had rainwater in it and they just poured it into a bowl. So I was just like, I can't do this. And the bars, they looked delicious. Didn't like them.
It honestly, I mean, from personal experience, the bars, well, they looked like something you wouldn't necessarily put in your mouth and probably tasted the same.
I wasn't a fan.
I mean, if you were really hungry, which from personal experience, I was really, really hungry at times, they were literally all that you had and they were delicious.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the taste did not sit well. It didn't sit well at all. I
got some really cool tricks to learn, though, because it wasn't just a salad. It's just, that was suggested to me, but being on the OptiSlim or OptiFast, whichever one you go on to, they're the same product, just different branding, different names.
Yeah, meal replacement shakes.
Yeah. There is different alternatives that you can do. So, for instance, there was the OptiSlim or OptiFast as the shakes as a replacement. There was an alternative diet called the K8 diet, which you would know about.
Yes, I would.
And there was also OptiCook, which I'll cover later on as well, which I think could benefit a lot of people.
Yeah, so with myself, I had to go through 6 weeks of pre-op diet, which wasn't great.
At least you didn't start yours on New Year's Day.
Yeah, no, I didn't have to start mine on New Year's Day.
But it was a New Year's resolution I could keep.
Yes,
and it's the first one I've ever been able to keep, that I was going to do this diet.
Yeah, I'm not really a big believer in New Year's resolutions. I think you should be able to do it regardless.
I thought then you were going to say I'm not a big believer in your resolutions because I was going to literally throw something at you then.
Well...
Don't even start.
But for me, I got the option of going onto the K8 diet and I was very concerned about, I suppose my willpower. I knew I didn't have great willpower. It was something that I always knew I wasn't good at. And I wanted to make sure that I could go through a proper diet and keep it. And the K8 diet still involved the shakes. It still involved the protein bars and things like that. But it did allow me to go through a little bit different style. And Shane, you've got the actual paper there. Maybe you can read out some of the options.
So the K8 diet is made up of a green food group and an amber, I call it orange, coloured food group. They say that the green you have to eat abundantly. I think that's how you say it.
Yes.
And then the amber or orange, if you want to be fancy, is you eat conservatively. Conservatively. Yeah, I can't say stuff properly.
Words are hard.
Words are really hard. So I'm more than happy to provide a link to this because...
Just give us a couple of examples of the different groups.
Yeah, so you got for your green, it's like your low starch and green vegetables, soups, sauce. It's got a list of what sauces and condiments you can have, your herbs and spices, artificial sweeteners, calorie-free fluids. So it tells you got to drink at least 2 litres a day, and you're allowed 1 piece of fruit per day.
Are nuggets on the list?
Not on this list, no.
Oh, well.
For the orange, it says try to include some of these foods at each main meal because and they say it should fill up at least 1/4 of your plate. So it's like egg whites only, low-fat cow milk, Bega cheese.
I love cheese.
Cheese is amazing, but you don't like cottage cheese. Lean trimmed like lamb, beef, pork, skinless chicken breast, deli meat, tuna, white fish. So it's really your protein. So you eat a lot of green and you have like 1/4 of protein.
Milkshakes on that list?
I believe they're on the list where the nuggets are and they're not on here.
Okay.
So you could have a chocolate OptiSlim shake.
That sounds delicious. I'll pass at this stage, but we may discuss that at a later time. So, what else was involved in your pre-op diet apart from that? Was there actually anything else that you need to go through? Was there any small steps that you needed to tick off? I know that we certainly had to check in with the dietitian.
I had to see a psychologist.
Yeah.
To see if I was ready to crack my food addiction.
Yeah, but with that, you generally, depending on which doctor or surgeon you go with, you have the option of waiving that. I waived that, so I felt that I didn't need to go through that. But what I will say is that not everyone is the same, and that goes for every facet of weight loss surgery, and I would encourage anyone to probably take up the option of a psychologist just to prepare you for anything that you're not used to, anything that you may not be expecting. So don't necessarily follow my lead. I felt that I was going to be okay. I felt that I was mentally strong enough to get through it. That doesn't mean that I'm mentally stronger than everybody else. I felt that I came out okay, but I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else, that's for sure. And I do believe that everyone should probably go through it, and I probably should have gone through it as well, just to make sure that I was fully prepared. But yeah, I waived that. But you went through for 1 session?
Mm-hmm. Wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Now I realise it wasn't enough, and later on in the podcast I'll explain why.
Later on.
Down the track, not today, because we'll get to it when I feel ready to talk about it.
Sure.
And when the listeners are ready to get to that stage.
We'll have an episode about that for sure. So, what is the purpose of pre-op when it comes to weight loss surgery?
Well, my surgeon told me it was to help reduce the fat around my liver.
Yes.
And also to help prevent complications with surgery.
But why do we have to reduce the fat around our liver? Is there much fat around the liver?
Well, I think it depends on your body size. Like, apparently my surgeon said I was an apple, and I thought I was red and delicious, but that wasn't the case. He was referring to the size of me and where I held all my fat.
I'm red and delicious.
Bite
Taste me.
But every person is different. It really comes down to where you hold your fat. And as he said, I was an apple. I held everything above just below my breasts and on my belly. That's where everything was held. And considering that's where he needed to access with my liver, it was quite dangerous. So that's another reason why I had to do 8 weeks.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that enough. It really is important to ensure that you reduce the fat around your liver as much as possible, because you want to ensure that it's safe for the surgeon to get in there. He needs to be able to move your liver out of the way so that he can access your stomach, and he needs to have a clear path. Now, of course, surgeons do go in with, not as much reduction of the fat around your liver, but it really is important to reduce it as much as possible. Your surgeon might tell you, 2 weeks is fine. Or, your dietitian, for that matter, might tell you, 2 weeks is fine. And look, you might not necessarily follow the diet as to the T. You might miss a step. You might slip. We've seen that in the past. And the surgeon might still go ahead. But there is always that risk that they will open you up and go, you know what? Not happening.
We've actually come across one. I came across one. There was a girl, it might have been 12 months ago.
Yeah.
She was on one of the Facebook groups I was on. I can't remember her name. Anyone who's in the Aussie Gastric Sleeve Support group will probably know who I'm talking about. She's disappeared off the radar now. But she had to do 6 weeks of Opti, continuously slipped up every day, ate KFC every day, regretted it, vented about it, and eventually one of the members just kind of said what all of us wanted to say.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not ready for this.
Yeah.
You're not mentally ready for this.
She still obviously went ahead, though.
She went ahead and they told her no.
But was this pre-surgery or was this on the operating table?
On the day.
Yeah, on the day, but on the operating table? Or
No, before. So when you go through your admission and they do a catch-up,
yeah,
they were just not satisfied.
So they weren't satisfied at her weight.
No.
Yeah, but and that is another danger as well, and that's why you need to follow your diet as much as humanly possible. And look, your body will react to the diet differently. Generally, the diet is designed to put your body into a quick starvation mode, really, and it will go into survival mode at some stage or another, and that is something that you experienced. You actually lost weight quickly, and then you couldn't lose that last bit of weight because your body was actually in shock almost, and not able to let go of that excess weight that you did have. I mean, you still got to where you needed to be, but it did become a struggle to what later on.
One thing I will say is you obviously see your surgeon in that maybe a week before it all happens, because the next time you see him is at hospital. Just because you've seen the surgeon and he's given you the okay and he's happy with the weight that you've lost doesn't mean that you can go and have a snack now, that you've got that goal.
Oh, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, oh, well, I've made what he asked me to. And then this is what happened to that girl. She lost some of the weight that she was supposed to lose, saw him, everything was scheduled. She went nuts. I don't know how she put 3 kilos on in a week. I have no idea. He flat out refused. I know. But it's like, if you really want this, why are you not working for it?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I couldn't agree with you more. And there are people who are at our higher weights out there that have gone through the surgery that will realise that when you're at a higher weight, we're talking 160s, 170s, maybe even a little bit lower than that as well, and higher, you actually lose weight quite quickly early. And that is because your body's not used to it. I mean, from my point of view, I ate a lot, like so many calories a day, that my body was just used to it. It was funny because I used to eat so much that I couldn't believe that I wasn't gaining. I used to, hover between 175 and 180, and I just would never go over that. Yet, I would still eat the same amount of really high calorie intake food.
It's just like Dr. Draper said. So our original surgeon, he told us that our bodies are born with this gene weight. And it's once it's stuck to that weight, you'll always hover there. And he's like, you notice how you'll lose weight, but you always put it back on? It's like your body's set on that number. And this whole process is like a computer reboot. Yeah.
It's designed to reboot your body.
Correct.
Yeah.
So. I really liked that formula that he did, and I'll always remember that. So thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah, for sure. He did point out really well, and it's actually a good analogy for it, because you are retraining your body and retraining your mind.
He was the first person that made me feel like I wasn't a monster. That I was lazy. But I wasn't a fat, lazy slob that didn't do anything. He actually made me realise that, part of this is medical. Like you have a disease and I want to treat you for it. And I think when we had that consultation with him just being so real and just told me how it was, really opened my eyes up more to the whole process. Yeah.
No, for sure.
I miss Jeff.
You miss Jeff? Well, why don't you ring him and tell him that you miss him?
I will.
I'm sure
send
he'll
him a
remember
Facebook
exactly
message.
who you are. So, just, I suppose, getting back to the point of the pre-op diet and really the purpose of it, and the purpose of making sure that you follow it as much as possible, is why would you risk putting all that money down and putting your date in and getting ready and looking to change your life, and you can't hold off, you can't push through that barrier, and then you get to the operating table and they open you up and go, there is no way that we can operate, and then you're going to have to wait, and you can't. I mean, they'll still charge you. I mean, they probably won't charge you the full lot, but they'll still charge you because you've got to have hospital fees. You've already booked the anaesthetist.
You're probably going to talk yourself out of it the second time.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, if somebody got there, if somebody got to that stage.
Wouldn't you feel humiliated in a way? Like, I'm not pointing anyone out, but from my own point of view, I'd probably feel really humiliated.
Yeah, well.
But then would I want to be like, I want to do this and prove it again?
Well, I think that's a good point. You can take it either way. You can either take it on headstrong and really understand where the mistakes are and really change it around, or you might not change at all. Some people just don't change, but and that's just the way it is. They just don't. They don't get it, and there are people out there who don't want to go through that pre-op stage. They just want to get it over with.
With pre-op, it's not just about the food. It's not just about talking to a psychologist. It's not about the dietitian. It's not about the surgeon. But it's the other specialists as well. I learned I had sleep apnea through doing my pre-op.
Well, yeah, that's part of the process, isn't it? So you've got to go through all the tests.
I found out I was at risk with the anaesthetic through my pre-op by seeing the respiratory doctor.
Yes, where he told you had an overbite.
I didn't even know what that was until I spoke to him. And I realised...
You're a piranha.
Pretty much. And that's why I can't smile properly. Or if I smile, I look constipated.
No, you don't. That's stupid.
There's also sleep study.
Yeah.
Really recommend you go and do that.
Well, it's part of it. Most doctors actually make you go through it. Depending on the size you are.
What was the thing called? I can't say it properly, but it's when they put the thing down your throat.
Oh, the barium swallow.
No, the gastro...
Oh. Do you mean the endoscopy or the gastroscopy?
Which one did I have?
You've had both.
Oh, the one where I went to sleep and they put the camera down my throat and he found a hernia, which was making my reflux terrible. And then I was told having my sleeve may increase my reflux. And I was like, nah, it's all right, it's good. Now I'm like, oh my God, my insides are burning. Give me the Nexium. Where's Alice?
Give me all the ice cream. All of the ice cream in the world.
But there's a lot of things that people tend to forget are part of pre-op because people automatically think, yep, pre-op's about the shakes. It's really not. It's about understanding where your body's at now and where you need to get it to for day of surgery. And
generally, those tests are before your pre-op diet as well because they want to make sure that you're suitable to be able to handle going under anesthesia and going through that surgery because, they don't want to put you to sleep and not be able to wake you up.
Yeah. Which is why the gas man was so expensive as well. Exactly.
So there is that part of pre-op as well. You have to understand you'll go through some tests and one of them is that sleep apnea and sleep study. just to make sure that you're not at risk there. What you'll find is the people who start at a lower weight generally won't have that issue. However, once again, everyone is different. And every doctor is different. You know, some doctors don't make you go through that. Some doctors just want you to go through some standard tests as well. So, you know, there's all those kind of things to understand.
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Ooh, ask away.
That was kind of creepy, but okay.
Yeah, it was a bit creepy, actually. Who was that who came into the room? Was that Fred?
Yeah,
Fred,
okay.
get out.
What was the hardest part of pre-op for you?
Oh, you know what? Going around and when you're really hungry, I mean, even post surgery, when you're really hungry, you get those cravings. But going around, being out and about, or maybe just even driving down the road, going to a shopping centre, even going outside and the smells of awesome cooked food. Oh my God, that was the hardest thing ever. I could not stand driving past anything. Like, it didn't even matter what it was. It might have even been food that I didn't even like. But because it had, you know, because when you're on a crash diet or when you're on a detox diet, and that's what you're basically doing, you're detoxing. You are detoxing your body to get prepared for this major surgery. Mm-hmm. And going past anything that's being cooked was so hard. And that really pushed my boundaries because, you know, that was, you know, for someone like me where I did not have good willpower at all. I really didn't. And I'll be the first to admit that I was the worst for any kind of willpower. That was definitely the hardest part for me. I mean, look, going through the diet was hard, no doubt. And, you know, preparing myself for going through major surgery and having some mental battles and, you know, trying to think of everything that's going to change and not knowing what's going to happen post that surgery was hard. But the hardest part was definitely the smells and having to deal with those then cravings of wanting to, you know, just eat something. But, yeah. That was the way it was. Was there anything further you wanted to ask on that, Chantelle?
No, you answered my question.
Did I really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you answer your hardest part? I don't know if you did.
I had to go to a wedding in Queensland the first week of my my pre-op. We had to go to Queensland for a wedding, and there I was with my little shakes and my little shaker, and I'm like, excuse me, sir, do you have some ice so I can turn this horrible thing into a frappe?
I remember it well because I wasn't on my diet yet.
No, and you could eat whatever you wanted to, and I was like, I hate everyone right now.
I must admit, though, and partners of weight loss surgery patients will know what I'm talking about. I felt really, really guilty. Because I mean, I suppose it's a different point of view from mine because I knew that I was about to go through it. But the fact that I wasn't on it yet and that I was able to eat anything in front of you, I really wanted to make sure that I didn't eat around you as much as possible. And I made sure that in that time between my diet and your diet that I wasn't actually eating all that awesome food around you.
Let's make a little confession to the podcast, Grant.
What?
What did you used to do?
What?
Where did you used to drive and wouldn't come home? You come home...
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure it was a 3-letter word.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
So Grant confessed to me not so long ago, and I'm actually really proud of him, and I'm really grateful that he hid it from me. But whilst I was on my pre-op diet, he would go in KFC and eat KFC in the car park and then come home and then eat what I had to make him.
That must have been another Grant. That wasn't me. I wouldn't do that.
You were already asking where the nugs were earlier.
Where are the nugs?
In the KFC car park where you left them.
I felt bad. I didn't want to eat in front of you. I still wanted to eat all the food that I wanted to eat, which is, yes, mostly KFC. But I didn't want to bring it home because that would be terrible, and I would have only imagined what that would have been like for me. So I didn't want to do that around you. I thought that it was really selfish of me to do that. But then again, it was also selfish of me to eat it and then come home and
Eat dinner. Yeah.
And that's how much, I was so addicted to food because I wanted to make sure that I got what I actually wanted.
Oh, I'm not feeling really hungry tonight, babe. Oh, that's unusual.
All right, mate. All right. You made your point.
So, back on the subject of, what the hardest part was, we actually reached out on our social media. So, we reached out on Instagram and Facebook and we asked you guys, what was the hardest part pre-op? Now, we've had a really, really good response on Instagram and we've had a couple of responses on Facebook.
And some, individual messages as well, private messaging as well.
Yeah. So, I'm just going to read a couple of them, so we'll just take it in turns. So we've just picked a few of them that, I think others would benefit from hearing. So a big thank you first to Cass_me, who is on Instagram. So that's Cass, I know Cass. So she said the shakes were the hardest thing, going out with friends and seeing them eat and knowing you really couldn't. Although for a good reason, it was still one of the hardest things I've done. I had to do my pre-op for 2 weeks, and I think I actually did 2 weeks and 4 days. She said, what advice would I give to someone? Make sure that you have the support you need for after. And if I did my time over, I would have gone to see a psych pretty much after I got it done. This journey, I find, messes with your head, and it's better to be prepared and ready. Also, be kind to yourself.
That's a really good point, apart from the fact that, you got your diet and she only had to go through a couple of weeks compared to some longer ones, but that doesn't mean that's not hard. And I'm sure that was just as hard as what anybody's had to go through. And thank you again, Cass, for sharing. But one thing she does actually make a really good point is to make sure you go see that psychologist, because it does mess with your head. It does actually make you think all kinds of weird things, and it pushes your willpower to the limit. And so we really identify with what Cass is saying there. It's an absolutely good point. So next up, we've got Mel's WLS journey. I'm currently on my pre-op diet. I have to do 8 weeks, 3 shakes a day on OptiFast. I don't mind the taste of the shakes, so it's okay from that point of view. Oh my God, lucky her. And yes, some of the days I'm hungrier than others. But the hardest part, like I imagine most of the journey is the mental side. It's next to impossible to eat out with friends. I've been out a few times to activities and packed my own food, which has been good. So I'm not stuck at home. But at the end of the day, it's mind over matter. I have stuck to my pre-op diet 100% because I want the best outcome from my surgery. It's not fun, but you've just got to do it. It's just over 2 weeks left of the 8 weeks for her, and I'm feeling good. Getting excited and nervous. In some ways, I'm glad I had the long pre-op. I think it's reinforced I really want this. Want the best results, and I have some willpower.
Yay.
Yeah, really awesome, Mel. So, once again, she's got a longer pre-op diet to go through.
Me.
But I really just have to point out, it doesn't matter whether you're doing 2 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months. God, I hope not. But it really doesn't matter. Everyone still has to go through some kind of pre-op diet. And that's depending on your size, depending on your makeup, depending on what you eat every day, depending on your profile that your dietitian as well as your surgeon makes on you. But, something that Mel's going through at the moment, we really wish you luck, Mel. Hopefully you're going, great guns, and you sounds like you it is tough. Certainly, I definitely identify, as you would as well, Shan, the going out with friends thing.
Well, the thing is, I see how she said that she's packed her own food.
That's a really clever idea.
I do that now, still, when we go to the football.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do. I pack I have crackers and cheese and salami and cucumbers slices. I pack my own thing. I found that works better for me because I'm more accountable, and I did that in my pre-op stage, so I've learnt that along the way.
Yeah.
But keep up the good work. You're nearly there, and we're all behind you, supporting you. And thank you so much for writing into us.
Yeah, and you've also, and as Chantelle has said, you've already kind of learnt a trait that we all kind of go through at this stage, and making those little snacks to take with you everywhere, which is really good.
So the last comment that we picked off Instagram came from Curvy Girl.
Curvy Girl Thos. Curvy Girl Ethos.
Oh, Curvy Girl Ethos.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you corrected that because I was about to say something else then. Because I can't see from over here. But she wrote most of it was not hard. The last day and up until I passed out from the gas, I had started to get nervous and doubting doing such a drastic thing. But I kept reminding myself that it will all work out. I will say at the last minute before surgery, my brain started saying, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. I was laying there on the table and I was going to quit. Then the nurses kindly started massaging my legs and calmed me down. Then all of a sudden I was out. Now post-op, I have a different opinion. I will say diet-wise, since I had the surgery in January, it made the chicken and the beef broth a nice option. I think she's referring to the soups, maybe?
Yeah.
And I would have struggled more in warmer weather.
Oh, but no, we remember in hospital we had broth because you had to have clear fluids. That was the first stage post-op.
I didn't the first stage.
Yeah, you did. You had broth. Absolutely, you had broth.
In hospital, I couldn't keep anything down.
No, yeah, you definitely tried the broth.
I don't remember.
Yeah. But another, different point of view there. She's saying that the pre-op part of it, I suppose, for her diet and maybe just even leading up to it was not as hard for her. But still, the part just before she's going in is a very important part as well, because I do think that people do go through that stage of, oh, what am I doing? What am I doing in there? And the final comment we've got there is from Lainey Carter on Facebook. So what she's written there is this is definitely the hardest part. This is the hardest part. If you can get through this stage, it's downhill from there or from here. Avoid important activities for the first 3 days. And remember, this part is only temporary. So just a little bit of advice there. Just make sure you do get through it. Okay.
I like that word.
Really pushing through it. It is only temporary.
It is
absolutely. One thing that I went through is thinking, I'm never going to be able to eat the food that I love ever again. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Yes, you don't go out and, smash down 5 Big Macs anymore. You can't do that kind of stuff. But the idea of this weight loss surgery is to transform your life and the choices that you make and open yourself up to, such great food that is out there that can actually be healthy as well, and opening, your life up to so many other things. So it's a really good comment there, Lainey. Really poignant in this kind of topic. So once again, thank you everyone for giving us your comments there. We love getting everyone involved, so we'll certainly be doing that more and more.
Going back to pre-op, there's a couple of things that I wanted to give as reference to people. There's a blog, a Facebook page, and a website for the VCLD.
VLCD, very low calorie diet.
Yeah. So you look up OptiCook if you are on your pre-op stage. OptiCook is a blog and recipe guide basically aimed at people that are on the OptiSlim or OptiFast diet. It has all the foods in there that you can eat, but so you can put a nice fancy spin on there as well. So definitely go check out OptiCook. And
we'll have a link for that in all our formats, so everything on social media, as well as in the summary of this podcast as well. So just with a summary on pre-op and things that you really want to think about, and some things that you're going to come along the way and people will certainly relate with. We'd love to hear more about what some of you guys experienced out there with these stages, but you've got to think about things like withdrawals. You're going to have withdrawals on the food that you are used to, especially if you were like me, and I was someone who was really big on fast food, anything sugar, anything fatty, anything fried. You're going to have those withdrawals, so that's going to cause a detoxing of your body. You are going to go through a detoxing stage if you're used to eating all that type of food, and even not necessarily that type of food, but just some other things you just can't have anymore. Anything that's kind of full of sugar and full of salt as well. Your body is going to definitely change around there. And
do not give in to temptation.
No, definitely don't,
because you will slip up.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. I slipped up. I'll be the first to admit it. I slipped up a couple of times. It didn't affect me in the end, but I'm different than everyone else. Everyone has a different, pre-op stage. Everyone has a different post-op stage as well, I suppose. But don't think that just because one person was able to get through it successfully that you will be able to as well. I really encourage everyone to follow their diet 100%. I was one of those people who really had a lot of cravings, and I had really strong ones as well, and they were really hard to really
I had to give up
into.
smoking too. I had to give up smoking for my surgery.
Mm.
So if you could give someone one more point or a piece of advice before we close this one off, what would it be?
I suppose it's really along the same theme. I cannot stress enough that you just don't want to risk losing everything that you've worked for. I was really gung-ho about getting this surgery. It's something that I really wanted to do, and I made my mind up quite, a long time before I actually went through with the surgery. And if you have that thought in your mind that you really want this to happen, you want to change your life, and you're willing to do anything to essentially save your life, there's not everyone that goes along that path. Not everyone has to. Not everyone does it because of their willpower. Not everyone does it because there's such a massive weight that they need to do something drastic to have weight loss surgery. Some people have medical reasons that they just can't lose the weight and they want to prevent it further. But if you are really adamant that this is the path for you, I really encourage you to just keep going through the process. Don't give in. And don't give up either. What about you, Shane?
Add ice to your Opti-Slim shakes.
That's a really good tip.
Add
That actually helped
ice.
a lot.
Trust me. I don't care what people say about, you should only add this amount. Don't do it with milk either. That's disgusting. But...
Oh, I was going to say do it with milk.
I didn't like the milk.
Yeah, that was easy for me.
Because it went all it had like a skin.
Oh, okay.
But if you do it with water or milk, add ice all the way to the top and give that baby a good old shake. Because
I didn't
literally,
know about the ice before you told me.
I told you about it and you were like, this is so much better now. Because it turns into like a frappe.
It really does.
And stay away from the French vanilla ones.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, no, they were nasty.
And I was just reading before we close this off, because I'm gonna link the K8 stuff, but I was just looking over. I pulled out my old folders which had all my preparation stuff on it. It actually has my caffeine addiction on here. I was drinking 2 liters of Red Bull a day, and in the 8 weeks she wanted me to drop it down to 250 mils.
Yeah, you're doing 2 big cans a day. No, 4 big cans a day.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now I struggle to get like half a can.
Yeah,
of
you still buy it though.
I do.
But, yeah, admitting that you actually don't. Generally, you don't drink it all.
No, I don't. I struggle. I just want that first bit of energy, or I'll just go and have... It really depends. Like, I'm not going to say I'm the perfect weight loss surgery patient. I have moments where... I have weaknesses, and sometimes I'm like, you know what? I just want a really nice cold Red Bull.
Yeah.
With no Jaeger, because it's 9 a.m. and I can't have Jaeger.
Oh, God. Well, that reminds me, though, just another pre-op thing, and really to prepare you for post-op. If you love soft drink, if you love any fizzy drink, it's going to be very difficult to drink it post-op. I mean, you've got to kind of stop drinking it at least for a little while. And don't believe those people that you'll never be able to drink it again. It's another topic for another day, and I know that there will be people out there who will disagree with me. I was a massive soft drink eater.
Drinker.
Eater?
God. I didn't know you could eat
I know.
cans.
Let's put it in the freezer and then just make it a meal, mate. But yeah, I was a massive soft drink drinker. I gave it up completely for I'd say a good 6 months, and then I had it for the first time around about 6 months. Yeah, after my surgery, it just tasted so
sweet. It was so
just,
sweet,
so sweet. But you're not going to be able to drink it immediately after your surgery anyway, and your surgeon and your dietitian will change. But start it now. If for those who are in pre-op now or about to think about it, start cutting down now so it makes it easier, because it's a bit of a massive change once you get rid of energy drinks and soft drinks.
But we'll talk about that when we go into post-op.
Yeah, that's another time anyway. But it just more for pre-op. Start cutting down now. It will help in the future.
So I think we're going to come and bring the show to an end.
Yeah, I think that'll do for today. So, as per usual, as we have said in the previous 2 episodes, just a small disclaimer about our show. We are not medical experts. We are not medically trained in either way. This podcast is from a patient's point of view. It's based on our own opinions and opinions of people in the weight loss surgery community. Now, just remember that if you do need to get medical advice or if you want a medical expert opinion, I really do encourage you to seek that from your doctor or from your surgeon that you are booked with. Or if you are looking to get the surgery or if you're interested in the surgery, make sure you talk to your GP or your surgeon about it, okay? And speak to people out there. Speak to those experts out there. But for us, we're just here to give you advice from people who have gone through it. We're here to share the stories of people who have gone through it. We are certainly not medically trained or medical experts in any way. So just remember that, okay, guys?
Thanks for that, Dr. Fleming.
Oh, you're welcome, Chantelle. Is there anything else that I can do you for? Maybe I can put you on the table again. Go through another surgery. Maybe
later.
Okay.
But also a big thank you to everyone who's supporting the movement on Instagram, particularly there's Wen's, there's been Rosie, there's been...
Quite a few people.
There's been quite a few people. I can't remember
the
name.
The names are escaping your brain right now.
Why was I thinking... Was it formerly Chubby Hubby?
Yes.
The guy who's in Far West?
Yeah, it's been really awesome. I mean, we can't... honestly, I can't think of everyone off the top of my head, and we probably should have had that prepared so we could actually thank you all. But honestly, everyone who's been sharing our page... And shout outs and listening to it, it's awesome, guys. You know, as I say, we are here for you. We're here to share our stories, share your stories, and just be part of one big community and have that tool out there for people that are wanting to get, you know, the stories from people who have gone through the surgery themselves. Just one final shout out I want to give is to a lovely lady I met by the name of Mandy. She's actually started her own weight loss surgery podcast. It's called 30 Second Chew. She's from the United States, so it's awesome having a counterpart in the other side of the world. I don't think of it as competing at all. I don't think of it as, you know, it's us versus her whatsoever. I think the more tools out there, the better. So look up her podcast as well. It's 30 Second Chew. She's as I say, just started really at the same time as us, actually probably a little bit before us, and she's just doing little episodes on her own right now. So make sure you support her and give her a listen as well. Anything else we can do for you today, Chantelle?
No, I think it is time to draw this meeting to a close. Oh, bacon is bay.
Oh, bacon is most definitely bay.
And I'm the bacon master.
That might be an
Do you
episode
want
for another day.
Bacon in the morning or not?
Chantelle is the bacon master.
Thank you.
And it's fantastic to get bacon in the morning.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, once again, we'll leave it there for today. Thanks again for downloading and joining us on the program today. No matter what time you're listening to it, hopefully in the morning on your morning train.
Or walk.
Or
on your lunch.
On your lunch. Maybe even in bed next to your
or maybe,
loving wife.
Oh, you're a sucker. Good night, everyone. Thanks for listening to Changing Our Ways.
This is us signing